Welcome to the World Art Now podcast, exploring the world through the material culture of its people, in association with Michael Backman Limited.
Hi, this is Michael Backman, and I am here with an author and a collector from Turkey. Her name is Oytun Evliyazade Camcigil, and she has written a fantastic book which has recently been published. It's available on Amazon, and it's called Eastern Treasures, Ottoman, Oman, Yemen, Turkmen Jewellery. It's more than 300 pages long. Yeah, that's right, it's one of those thick, big books, and it's crammed full of fantastic photographs and text. Oytun, thank you so much for being here in London with us, and also congratulations on your fantastic book. I'll give the title again. It's Eastern Treasures, Ottoman, Oman, Yemen, Turkmen Jewellery, and it's a feast. It's an absolute feast for the eyes. It's wonderful. It must have taken you a long time to put this together.
Oh yeah, more than I was thinking. It's over 10 years, I must say. But the difficulty was some of my collection was in Istanbul and somewhere in Dubai. So I was in between two countries.
Yes.
And I wasn't even sure what I got, how can I do photography and the articles.
Right.
So more than expected.
Right. So you are Turkish, aren't you?
I am Turkish.
Did you grow up in Istanbul?
I did. All my education, I was in Istanbul.
Fantastic.
Yes.
But then you've mostly been living in the Middle East and latterly in Dubai.
Exactly.
Right. So when you wrote this, you were in Dubai, and so so this is really on your collection, and it's spread between Istanbul and Dubai.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's very hard to write a book, having just done it myself. At least the manuscript has been done. When your collection is sometimes not all with you, and you're trying to remember, how do I describe these things? And when you have it all back, it's like having your children back, and you can look at each piece and remember why you bought them and so on. In terms of collecting, how did you acquire all of your pieces?
The collecting, the thing is, I used to go to the market when I was student with my mom, and she was so keen to collect and getting some knowledge from the sellers. So it started like that.
Right.
I knew she knew what she was looking for, and I was just beside her listening. And when it was a wearable jewelry, so
Yes.
we were trying to decorate ourselves with those things, and people were admiring it.
So your mother was a collector.
Yes, but
Right.
of course not in that scale. Much less.
So she was buying to wear.
Simple things, not
Yes.
so decorated things, but simple things for daily life. She was.
Right. And so this was in Istanbul.
Yes,
Right.
where I grew up.
In the Grand Bazaar, or
In the Grand
Oh, really?
Bazaar.
So you
Oh,
would
yes,
actually, as a young girl, were going into the Grand
Yes,
Bazaar looking for
exactly.
jewelry with your mother. That's
Exactly.
very romantic.
But you never go to look something certain. I think what you find good, whatever, for example, maybe you need an earring, you are going, but you
Yes.
end up with a necklace or bracelet.
Oh yes.
So whatever you find, it catches your eye.
Yes.
And that was it, and not to miss it.
Yes.
And that time market was full of really beautiful things.
Yes.
And there wasn't enough buyers. So, and now I always say to the people, put the money in your pocket, search for things. It's getting very rare and quite expensive at the moment.
That is certainly true. Yeah, I know from experience. In terms of being a collector and a dealer, it's getting a lot harder to replace the things that we sell. But as you know, how you're describing going to the market and not knowing what you might find, and going thinking you would like to buy something and coming back with something completely different. It's that gambling aspect of being a collector, where you don't know what you're going to get, and that's, I think, one of the great joys of being a collector, is that you never know what the next day is going to bring you.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly. It's
very
so full of
joyous.
surprises, really.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Yeah.
still like that, when I go to in the different countries to the souk, I never go with an intention. Whatever I find nice, worth it, and whatever gives me excitement, I end up with it.
Well, the interesting thing also for Istanbul is that it's been such sort of like a crossroads for that many styles of jewellery and so on. And I think even on my last trip there, I noticed there was a lot of Turkmen material and obviously Turkish, Ottoman and so on, and things from the Balkans and whatever. And it's all found its way into the Grand Bazaar and I guess other markets around Turkey and so on. And it's been doing that for hundreds of years. It really has been like a clearinghouse for jewellery from across the region. And you also find sometimes Indonesian items and North African things. And I think it's this Islamic, the Islamic roots where things are travelling and people go on the Hajj, and then they come back with other things that from other pilgrims who've been there and so on. And so you get this incredible mixing around. So when you were buying, for example, a lot of, say, the Omani items and Yemen things, I know you've lived in these countries as well. Did you also find them in Istanbul?
I did, but when because of my husband's job, when we moved to Oman, it opened me a wide door, really. I wasn't familiar Omani jewelry that time, and I saw how big they are and what an alternative they were giving. So much from top to toe, ladies were decorating themselves for special occasions.
Yes, for weddings and so on.
Yes, and never I have seen such a bulky jewelry. We didn't have that bulky jewelry in Turkey, that big.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Yes, because they're both Islamic cultures, but they're very different, obviously, and particularly when it comes to jewelry, because in Oman, the women, you can't really say they're ostentatious because they don't often appear in public, but when they do appear, they are completely festooned, as you say, like almost like Christmas trees, just decorated.
Definitely.
And whereas I think in Turkey, the ladies were a lot more, they held back a lot more in terms of the decoration, perhaps.
Yes, but we mustn't forget the old days, Ottoman time. There was of course there was a harem life. And there they were decorating themselves, but never as heavy, more fine jewelry with precious stones rather than semi-precious.
Yes.
And that kind of delicate things.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
they were doing fine ones.
Whereas the Omani ladies are more for bulk and bullion, and they're wearing their wealth. I suppose it's almost like they're a walking bank, really, like the household savings are on them.
Definitely.
Not when they went to the market and so on, because they wouldn't dress up at all. It really is more for religious or ceremonial occasions such as weddings.
Yes, special occasions, henna nights, weddings.
Yes.
That kind of things were important for them, and that time it was time to show their wealth, how much they have the things, and they carry beautifully all together, and really they are. It looks fantastic on them, all of them together.
Yes, yes. What's interesting, I think, in Oman is that a lot of silver has become available now because the women now are wealthier and they're tending to have exactly the same types of objects made, but they're having it made in gold rather than silver.
Definitely.
And so the silver's coming onto the market, and then
luckily,
very luckily,
very luckily.
And it is interesting because there is a lot of Omani silver available at the moment. I feel like you do see it still because a lot of people were travelling to Oman in, say, the last 20 years, and you could buy it in the souk there in Muscat. But it is declining now. And so I think it's reasonably priced at the moment, but I can imagine that in the future it's going to be quite rare and expensive in the way that everything becomes rarer and expensive.
Definitely. This is the way I'm seeing also. But also another thing which is happening now, the museums are collecting them. So now they are aware of their value and it reflects their culture. Nowadays, of course, ladies are not going like that around, but they collect it at the museums. So
That's true.
Ministry of Culture is investing on
in
them,
Oman.
which is in Oman, which is
yes.
great. So we can see the beautiful pieces in the museums.
Yeah, have you been to the new museum in Oman? I think Sultan Qaboos, when he was alive, he opened.
Yes,
It's
quite
fantastic.
a lot. Yeah, beautiful
yeah.
museums they have now, and beautiful, really rare pieces are there.
Yes, that's true, and
Yeah.
they've displayed it so professionally, and the quantity of what they have on display is really wonderful. No, I was really impressed and really delighted when I saw what they'd done. It was so
Yeah.
professional, and also it's a great place where they've got wonderful air conditioning too.
Yeah.
Somewhere to hide. But I think even there's a lovely coffee shop inside. So it really is a good refuge in Oman
Yes,
when you're
it's
there.
well presented, and information, everything. It's a perfect place to be in and to see the culture with the explanations.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also important, and they've done a good job with that. How do you feel about Turkmen and Central Asian jewellery? Because we see an awful lot of it now, but often I think it's often newly manufactured and so on.
Yeah.
It's quite a threat for collectors now.
It is. Luckily, I collected the old pieces on time, and still, if I find really unusual ones, and still, if I'm able to buy, I'm trying to do it. Of course, the Turkmen jewelry is totally different. They decorate themselves, even their outfits. The ladies are left, right of their kaftans or their dresses. It's sewn on them,
Right.
and like that. Another again with very heavy, hard to move.
Yes.
Necklaces, bracelets, plus the costume decoration they are wearing.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, that
Yeah.
in Central Asia that they had jewellery, but it was sewn onto the outer garments.
Yeah.
Whereas that's quite unusual. You certainly don't see that in Turkey or in the Middle East so much.
Not that much,
No.
not that much. Yeah,
Yeah.
even the old days we didn't see that much. But it looks great, really. It looks great with the bright colors, and then carrying them with their pride and with a great joy. Nice to watch such things in the
Indeed.
life, yeah.
With the reproduction Turkmen pieces, which we're seeing a lot of onto the market now,
Yeah.
where are they being made, do you think?
Again, probably in their country
Okay.
or nearest neighborhood, probably India, Iran,
Okay,
all
Afghanistan,
those places. Probably,
Yes,
probably, yeah. They are doing now a lot of also Omani jewelry in India.
really?
They are, a lot of reproductions
Maybe?
are
Oh dear,
there.
yeah.
But they do almost same job, but you can see the jewelry, the collection, all the collectioners has. You can see how much it was worn,
Yes.
the damage on it.
Yes.
Some missing pieces are on it. Even
Yes.
when the things are on rope, you can see the rope is quite dirty and torn.
Yes.
All those shows there is a history behind them. But
Yes, it will have the oil from the skin
Yes.
and all that sort of dirt.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I know sometimes, you have pieces in there, a little bits are missing and so on, but increasingly you kind of want that. That's important. And I remember once, years ago, I was looking at something and someone was selling me something, and I pointed out that I said, oh, but this bit's broken. And then I remember the seller, she said to me, yes, but you'd want that, wouldn't you? And I thought, yes, actually I would. So that, as you say, it's important.
those are good signs.
Yeah, very good signs to see the contact wear, a little bit of an age-related damage and so on. And I think now with a lot of the Turkmen things, that they're getting incredibly big and glossy, and but they have no wear at all. And
Yeah.
it's depressing seeing this, and I think in future, and this is always the problem when this happens, that it's okay now for us because we can tell, but in 50 years' time, it's going to be very hard for people to work out the difference, because by then these things will have age and the color associated with oxidation and so on. I know, for example, when the Dutch went to Java in Indonesia, they took a liking to the fact that sometimes rice farmers would dig up little metal statues
Yes.
from the Majapahit era and before that. And the local people worked out that the Dutch would buy these if they could only find enough. So they started to fake them. And that was in the 19th century. And so now 150 years on, these things are, it's impossible because they have 150 years worth of age. And and now that they even appear in museum collections sometimes. And so it's quite a problem.
And do you know, sorry to interrupt, but do you know what they call? They call it tomorrow's antiques.
Yeah,
tomorrow's
great.
antiques. They find a name even for it.
I remember once being in Indonesia, and there's a street called Jalan Jaksa in Jakarta, and I said to a guy there who was doing something on the footpath, I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm making antiques."
Yeah, antiques for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So with your collection, I guess it's all now in Istanbul,
Yes.
now that you've relocated back to Istanbul.
We did, and thank God they're all together now. It's
Yes.
under my control.
That's
and
Wonderful.
yes, from time to time I open the boxes,
Yes.
and it gives me great pleasure, really. With the as far as I remember the story where I bought, when I bought, and this all. That's
that.
why I decided to do this book, really, to share this excitement and pleasure with other people.
Yeah, well, the book it's fantastic, and it's so beautifully photographed, and your explanations are really good. Like, they're really good.
Thank you.
And in fact, Sarah, who works with us, we were discussing it before, and we were saying it's one of the best books we've seen on this area, and it really is, for several reasons. Because the photography is fantastic, the descriptions are good, and because, as far as we believe, every item in it is right. And that's not always the case with
Yes,
these days.
yes.
Quite famously, there was we won't mention which one, but there was quite an infamous exhibition held in a big museum in America of Turkmen pieces, and now it's understood by people who know that almost everything on display was wrong.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and but it had the imprimatur of the museum, and it was sort of almost like what would you say, sort of like. It's been given that provenance now of having been on display in the museum.
Sure, yeah.
But most of the pieces were reproductions. And
Is that so?
Yeah, yes,
wow.
yeah. And then they did a lovely book on it. And it's very misleading for people.
Well, this I don't know. I was trying to be very careful, really. I mean, with the informations, everything, and I was checking with few other people.
Yes.
But although this, because for the same thing, sometimes I was getting different informations.
Ah, that's common, isn't it? When you ask several people, and
it is.
Yes. So it doesn't matter sometimes, because, and I think in some areas people have different uses for things, from one town to another, and different names for things, and so on. So, but the real big problem is when you're trying to work out if something's right or not, and then when you get several opinions, that's a problem.
Yeah. And sometimes you never get the right answer, really. From village to village different.
Yes.
Also, the area influenced each other so much, and also the makers are traveling from one part to another part.
Yes.
Then shall we say it Omani, or in Oman, which area?
Exactly.
This is another thing.
That's a very good
confusing.
Point. Yeah.
Also, Ottoman Empire time, it was a huge area.
Yes.
So there were Bosnian silversmiths producing, and the other end, the east part of the Turkey, different one. So still under the Ottoman Empire. What to call, how to call, all these details are so important to give right.
That's such a good point, because now, a lot of curators and stuff, they're very fixed on sort of saying, oh, this is a such and such style from this location, or this is this from there.
Yeah.
But what they forget is that human capital is the most mobile capital of all, and so the skills and so on that people have always travel because people traveled.
Yes.
And people traveled a lot more than people realize. And
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot more. And in fact, sometimes even more than now, because now it's difficult with, you need a passport and visas and so on. And often before you didn't need that. So the artisans were very mobile. And so it often doesn't make sense to sort of say, well, this sort of style belongs only to this area, because that's sort of straitjacketing history and making it more rigid than it ever was.
Yeah, it is, and the techniques they are using is different than each other. So a person belongs to one nation, the work belongs to his nation, but he is living in the east part of Turkey or west part. So what we call to that was also to give right information. That was all. I was always confused how to say. So I was at the end. I was telling under Ottoman Empire time, made by Bosnian silversmith.
Excellent.
Made by the Armenian silversmith, that
Yes.
kind. And it's so important. They
Yes.
all have their own style of work, detailed. They are all expert on certain techniques and producing beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and another thing also is that sometimes artisans were actually captured as part of the war, like there'd be a war. And they would, go off to the treasury and steal everything and take it back to wherever they were from. But sometimes they would actually take the gold and the silversmiths and capture them back.
Yes.
And this happened, for example, in Southeast Asia, in Thailand, when the Burmese came in the 18th century and attacked Ayutthaya, the then Thai capital, and they took all of the silversmiths back to Burma. And so then what do we call the silver they produce? Is it Burmese silver or is it Thai silver?
Yeah.
And as time went on, it became a mixture of both.
So it is really so hard, so hard.
Yeah.
But when I see a piece, really, I respect for what it is, the technique, the stone on it, that gives the beauty.
Exactly.
So at the end, we mustn't, it mustn't be so important which area, how, or this. It's the beauty itself.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
Yeah. And all this, we mustn't forget the silversmiths are disappearing. It was a profession to go from father to son. Then nobody bothers it all day long, hand hammering and producing something. The trend is mass production at the moment. That
Indeed.
makes those pieces very special,
That's very
according
true.
to me.
That's a lovely point, yeah. There's one more thing I'd like to ask you about, and it's about collectors in Istanbul.
Yes.
Is there a strong collecting community? Is it a very common thing amongst Turkish ladies and men to collect? And have you noticed, and also how has that changed over, say, the last 30 or 40 years?
Since 36 years I was away from my country. When I came back, somehow I think we all find each other and meeting the right people. I was amazed how many people are collecting different things, not necessarily old jewelry, all this. So there was a club that now I belong to, Collectors Club.
Right.
Meeting there, amazing, very interesting people, really. And they give talks from time to time about their collection, which is good. But yes, in every old house, about especially Ottoman jewelry, you can find from their grandmothers, they are keeping that kind of things still. People, if they know the value, if it is not back to the market, in their cabinet you are seeing one corner that they have, like memories corner from the grandmas, and then it is. But the young generation, they don't give much value, I must say.
Yes.
These things. But depends the families. If they are well trained, I hope they will keep it forever.
People often say that the young generation don't care about these things, but then I think it's just a process of age that they need to get a bit older and then they will care.
I think so.
Yeah. So it's not that it's lost forever, but it is simply that they're at the wrong stage of their life because they're now currently more interested in buying a car or buying a house.
Yes.
And then as they get older and more established, then they start to think, well, actually, who am I and what was my grandmother wearing? And
exactly.
So because I hear this a lot. People say, oh, young people are not interested, but then I question, actually, have young people ever been interested?
Yes.
Were we interested in this when we were 20? Maybe not.
I was.
Oh,
I
you were.
was.
You're
I must
special.
say I was. But now when I watch the young ones, they are not. But
Yes.
still, I'm hoping.
Yes, yes,
Still,
yes.
I'm hoping one day they will appreciate all of it.
Yeah. Well, I think with collectors like you and producing books like this one that you've done, Eastern Treasures, that there's ample roadmaps for them to use to when they are ready to learn. That they've got the text to learn thanks to you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming. It's
Thank
just
you.
really lovely to talk with you.
Thank you. I mean, such a beautiful atmosphere. I can't believe every corner there is something interesting. Really, it's a dream world for me. This gallery, and thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity. I love to share my interest with the people who appreciates it.
Thank you, Oytun. You're very, very welcome.
Thank you very much.
You have been listening to the World Art Now podcast in association with Michael Backman Limited. To hear more, visit worldartnow.com.